Good evening. Today is December the 14th. This is the regular board meeting of the Hyde Park Central School District. At this point, may I have a motion to enter executive session, discuss personnel job performance, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? You get the book? Okay. And thank you for being patient. First, can I have a motion to return to open session, please?
So moved.
Second.
You got those? Perry and Perry. At this time, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Do you want to vote?
Oh, vote, yeah, sorry.
Aye.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Hey. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you mind, remain standing, or you want to do it sitting?
Yeah, we had a tragedy in our community and for one of our families last evening. We were informed that Malik Smith, a graduate from 2017, had a car accident on his way home for the holiday break last evening. He graduated in June, was well loved, and our condolences to the family, and we are offering grief counseling at our campus. So we would like to have a moment of silence for the loss. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have one agenda modification. Item 11.3, the architect's contract is being removed due to some wording issues that we need to get cleaned up before that is approved. So may I have a motion to accept the modified agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay. Upcoming events. Tuesday, December 19th is content number 3, 7 p.m. right here in this building. Monday, January 8th at 6 o'clock is the next DLT meeting at the district office. Wednesday, January 10th at 7 p.m. is the Ralph Smith Winter Concert at FDR. And Thursday, January 11th at 7 o'clock is the next regular Board of Education meeting. And it will be held at Ralph R. Smith. Okay. And go for our recognition award.
Yes. At this point, in our program, we do have a moment of official pride. And what we are going to do is we are going to ask Angelica Peterson to come up here. We usually have a podium, but
There's a little gray one.
a little gray one. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll stand
go.
off to the side. If you've been following our school district, we endeavored to go into a new academic program concentrating on the 4 C's: critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. And believe it or not, we were trying to engage a student in coming up with a graphic design for a couple of years. And it finally came to our attention that we should go to one of our students who's in the Career and Tech Institute in the graphic design class. And so we reached out to Career and Tech, and we said what we needed. We have Mitchell Schron here, the principal, and Angelica, and we'll bring them both up to the podium. And we collaborated. I went over, I met Angelica, we worked together, and then we were the liaisons together. She was the designer, and we had the district leadership team. We went through a number of iterations, which is part of the creative process. And it's really small here, but we're going to have poster size. This is now our icon for our 4 C's for lifelong learning. And this will become a poster. And this is the first draft of the brochure, and the logo will actually even be bigger and more visible. And for those in our viewing audience who wouldn't possibly be able to see something this small, we have the 4 C's. Angelica designed the 4 C's on the outside: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. And the inside is a graduation cap with visual representatives of the 4 C's. When we go to our conference, we are a member of Ed Leader 21, and the first thing you see when you walk in is everybody has a big poster with their design. And we are so proud that next year when we go in, Hyde Park will have their big poster, and it will be Angelica's design, and all of the information that will go home about our academic program will have Angelica's design. And we have credited her on the back. So we are going to ask Angelica and her principal to come up, and we have an official certificate to congratulate and acknowledge.
Want to do it over by the...
Yeah, sure, I guess that's where it is. It's weird. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to recognize our students. So, Angelica, for the, and we even got it on there. So, thank you very much for your work. It, as Dr. Reich said, it's great to have our own logo, and it's even better that we had a student that actually did it. So, congratulations.
Thank you. You don't have to.
That was a joke.
No, the work speaks for itself.
Thank you, thank you. We are very, very proud. Thank you so much.
Please.
Or you can go home and watch TV.
Only if you're going to do homework.
Wait, yeah, if you're not doing homework, you have to stay. This is the home.
Gee.
Okay, we have any other pride?
Yeah.
I have some informal pride.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I have further athletic announcements from the athletic director. With volleyball, Elizabeth Miller was selected for the Class A first team all section, and Lourdes Dawson was selected Class A second team all section. Football, all league selections, Dan Tompkins, Quinn Winkler, Elijah Hewitt, and Tyler Van Steenberg. And all section selections were Dan Tompkins and Quinn Winkler. And Dan Tompkins was named Class A Lineman of the Year. Cross country, Liam Farrell was selected Poughkeepsie Journal Runner of the Year, and Sarah Trainer was also selected Poughkeepsie Journal Runner of the Year. Several of our teams are in the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete teams for fall season, and to receive this, the team's average GPA for 75% of the roster must be greater than or equal to a 90. So our teams are boys cross country, girls swimming, girls soccer, volleyball, and girls tennis.
Excellent. Excellent.
Student government just wrapped up their Claudio Coppola can drive, and we had 600 plus cans that were delivered to Coppola's on Monday. And our very own Miss Amy Martin was nominated Teacher of the Month by a local radio station.
Excellent. A lot of good news, Leah. Thank you. The Haviland Middle School Select Chorus will be on Q92 this Monday at 7 a.m. So we're very proud that they will have an opportunity to perform on air live at Q92. So tune in this coming Monday. We yet again engaged in our activity called Project Fala, where our elementary students design cards, and elementary and middle school students make ornaments, cards, crafts, and this is a collaboration with the Hyde Park Historical Society, the American Legion, and St. Timothy's Lutheran Church. So these 4 organizations put together packages for the servicemen and women that contain our students' ornaments and artwork, cookies from the Historical Society, and other goods from some other organizations that put in what they think the soldiers may want to make them feel at home on the holidays. And this goes to our adopted ship, the USS Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, that is, when it's at dock, it's in Mayport, Florida. So I had the opportunity to see all the boxes of the handmade items that our students send in, and they're just adorable. And we generally receive pictures at the time that the servicemen and women open the packages, and that's always rewarding, and the students can see that. I did ask Aviva to talk about Hour of Code.
Okay, so Computer Science Education Week was December 4th through 10th. It's held annually in recognition of the birthday of computing pioneer Admiral Grace Murray Hopper, who was born December 1906. So Haviland Middle School students participated in an Hour of Code Tuesday, December 5th. So what happened was high school students came from the computer science classes, Mr. Chakowski and Ms. Schimmelfennig. They joined the middle school math classes for an hour of coding on their Chromebooks. Debbie Furman, the Hyde Park IBM STEM ambassador, along with her team of IBM engineers, spent the day teaching coding on Raspberry Pi devices with both students and teachers. And then something else happened, which is that they actually had an hour of code at North Park as well. The North Park Elementary collaborated with BOCES technicians, Michelle Palmieri and Julianne Ross Kleinman. They brought an hour to all 5th grade students at North Park, and they engaged in computer programming and computational thinking. Each student received an hour of code certificate upon completion, and they were from all the 5th grade classes at North Park. So,
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
We also had 2 concerts here at the middle school. Of course, one was while we were having a emergency meeting, but I managed to get it done in time to get over to the thing. So maybe we can do the same for this. Perry, you still got 35 minutes left on? Is that what it is? Okay.
Keep
All
going.
right. All right. Both concerts were very well attended. Not to be controversial, but I always am a little disappointed when not everybody stays, but I understand there are reasons, sometimes family reasons, that you have to leave, but the people who left early and missed the select course, that was really, really the highlight of the evening. So if you left early, you missed out. So is there any other pride? Okay. That will lead us to the superintendent. You got anything else on the superintendent report?
Oh, I just want to make sure.
Or you?
No.
Okay. That brings us to Mr. Shaw and the Haviland Middle School update.
Let me just begin by saying that it's always an exciting night to be able to be here to present the wonderful things that happen every day here at Haviland Middle School. It almost becomes overwhelming because of the amount of competence and care that happens in educating our children every day. So it's with pride that I present to you Haviland Middle School. Some of our recent pride includes, of course, our academics. We're going into year 2 of being a school in good standing. You know, we've been working hard at getting there and now working hard at maintaining it. We just completed this past October our 4th annual Haviland Middle School Community Night. We celebrate the work we do around extended day programs. I'll talk more about that as we go on. As you mentioned, our winter concert series is always a great time of year to be out in supporting our students and listening to the actual performances, which is essentially their graded assignments for all their hard work in class and at home. And our Haviland athletics programs, and also our one-to-one tech initiative. And Aviva did talk about some of the work we're including around there with the STEM activities. And we're pretty happy to talk about our partnership with IBM and our liaison with Debbie Furman. It's been the Hour of Code, which we say Hour of Code, but it occurred for many hours throughout the day. Every math class in this building participated in an hour of quote-unquote code, where they learned coding activities. Our students, about 30 of them, spent a day at an IBM STEM Think IT camp in October and on a Saturday, and it was a good experience. First time IBM did that, and a lot of planning and preparation going to hopefully that partnership continues. And also Ms. Furman and her team of engineers have been here at Haviland doing training for our staff on Raspberry Pi devices that we have here in the building, which will hopefully be the beginning of a maker-type lab that is in our B25, formerly known as our computer lab. So we're excited about that as well. Just some of the academic programs that occur here, which are outside of the normal, what you know about our core classes, but these are some of the other things that are happening. Of course, all of our sixth graders engage in year one of LOTE learning, information fluency first. That's taught here in our library. It's about research skills and skill development in terms of the things that kids need as they go further on, as they grow in their academics, as they get into secondary school. We also have our world language program, our LOTE program, which is in all grades, 6, 7, and 8. We offer French and Spanish. Our life and workforce skills, you might know it as family consumer science. For those who've been around a long time, you might remember it as home ec, as we all nod our heads a little bit if we've been doing it for a while. And it's a really exciting program. It's the first entry-level opportunity for kids to earn a half a credit towards graduation. It starts here in 7th grade. We have our AVID program, which stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. If I might be so bold, I'm just going to bring up to the board for you to read. It's a poem designed by our AVID students about who we are. We are AVID, and also we are entering a competition, and I'll look at Paul to make sure I'm saying it correctly, for our students to design a T-shirt for the national conference this year. We're hoping to get there and have our design chosen, but just a little bit about AVID. I'm just going to share this with the board. And we also offer a complement of accelerated honors and regents classes here, which include in both 7th and 8th grade around English, math, sciences, arts. We have technology in 8th grade. It's a full year credit for students. We have studio art, and also our academic intervention services to support our students that are working towards grade level competencies. So I haven't presented the state data like this in a while, and I figured I'd take an opportunity to do it. And it's just to orientate you. This is a snapshot. I took 3 years worth of data, and I chose it because I like the fact that we look at this last line around all HMS, you can look at it and see that the bar all the way to the left is those students in 6th grade, and then one in the middle of those students in 7, and one in the right of those students in 8, over that 3 years worth of time. So that's the progression going upward. And so if you take a micro view of it and you look at per grade level, you see progression. You may see some up or downs. As you take a macro view look at it, we're moving forward. We're making progress every year. It's incremental, and we have lots of students, and we're working in every different way we can to engage them. So I figured we'd take a look at that. That's the ELA assessment, and the next one is the math assessment. You might notice that in 8th grade there's a couple bars missing, and the reason why I did not include that data is because we have our phenomena around our test refusals, which is unfortunate but true for me in terms of evaluating kids, students in progress and sort of how they're progressing towards standards. And also, I'm happy to report in 8th grade, we also have a waiver for our students who are in algebra classes. That's about 60 students, so almost 30% of our grade level. And all of those students hit either proficient or mastery 3, 4s, and 5s in the state assessment. So we're excited about that. So, but also, again, if we look over time, and this is a 4-year snapshot of it, we're still growing and moving forward there as well. Our next slide talks about our BLT, our building level team. That's the work that's happening here in the building. It's the work that furthers the mission of the DLT and then also the building specific priorities that we have. We are always continuing our work around community involvement. That's how our offshoot of things like our community nights occur, and that's how our things like the use of our community room have occurred. We're always looking for ways to bring our community into our building. We heard very clearly from surveys from a few years ago that, hey, we'll come if you bring us the stuff that we want to see or we want to experience. So we're always looking to do it. Again, we're off the heels of our fourth annual community night, which if you are not aware, that's an opportunity for the community to come in, have a meal. It's all food donated by our district vendors and local community business owners and some of our parents here in the building. And then learn a little bit about what's happening in the school, things in the community, resources, high-interest workshops, booths, that sort of thing. It's a good atmosphere. We also offer childcare and activities for students during that time so parents could sort of have some time learning on their own. And we're always looking for new ways to reinvent as we'll be going to our 5th annual next year. So I will volley out there that if there are any suggestions, if you had the experience that you want to send to me, feel free an email to do so. And then the second bullet, we're working on climate and culture, but we're always working on our climate and culture. We have a wonderful climate and culture here, but we always have an opportunity to improve and find different ways to make it a better experience. It's about culture being what we do and climate being how we do it. We're always looking to have the best experience for not only our students, but our faculty and staff that are here in the building as well. In terms of our extracurricular and co-curricular activities, on the left-hand side, you see some of our extended day academics. Our Healthy Kids Literacy Program, that's a partnership with a 21st Century grant through New York State, and it was something that came through to us while we were a focused school, and it offers a literacy component of about an hour and a half in a day. That's after school. The kids are here from 3 to 6, and then they have some movement activities, and they also offer some homework help. We're continuing that, although we're no longer a focus school. We are continuing that work, and the grant was approved for our students this year. They're having 2 sessions. We just finished session 1. A session runs for 7 weeks, Monday through Friday, from 3 to 6 every day. And the other thing, we are partnering year 5 with our Marist tutoring program. One of our former teachers, Sue Decker, English teacher from the high school, is a adjunct professor over there, and we work with apprentice teachers. Students in their first and second years that want to go into education, they're coming here and they're learning to practice being around students and testing theory and methods of instruction. Our students benefit because most college students can manage the middle level curriculum around ELA, math, science, and social studies. So it's a good benefit for all. They get a real world field experience and our kids get the help that they need. The other extended day activity I included this year was the Washington, D.C. trip. It's a big event that happens in the 8th grade, and it's something we're targeting for this February. On the right-hand side, I've always been happy and proud to present this because this is year 5, and every year the board has been very supportive in allowing us to add an additional club. I just want to thank you for that. We have a large selection for students to choose from. Many are on multiple. Our newest this year is our Ally Club, which supports comfort and relationship building and connectedness to a building that is any type of learner or person. So it is essentially the beginning of what might be an LBGT club at the high school, that sort of thing. So we're really happy they're doing a lot of great work, and one of the things our Allied Club did was partner with some of our retired teachers and staff around a program we called Road to Recovery. It was about supporting people in the disaster areas of the hurricanes from earlier this fall in Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico. And we decided to help students build a theoretical road, but they could physically color in a brick or a paver. They could do well wishes or positive affirmations. We did a fundraiser. We raised just over $640, and we identified it going to the NYSET Disaster Relief Fund, which will funnel those monies to the areas of need. And actually, the check actually went out today, so we're pretty excited about that, and really happy and thankful to Toby Razin and Serge Trufanoff, some of our former employees, retired folks that came into the building to help further that cause. And of course, our Intramural Sports is a program that's still continuing in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. It's gender specific, and it is well attended. It's something we like to continue both in the fall and the spring. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that our spring play this year is Broadway's Peter Pan Jr. It'll be an exciting show, too, so pay attention. More information to come on that. So character education, we're always looking to have students learn who they are and how to support their school around them. We're doing a lot of things in our PBIS program around scholarships, perfect attendance breakfasts. We do recognitions all the time for students who are caught being good. Our CAPE program is strong and healthy here with Regina Hernandez, our CAPE counselor, who's also the other half of our time at FDR. She's a fabulous resource.
Say what the acronym.
Council for Alcohol Prevention Education. If you think about someone at this level, it's just about identifying at-risk behaviors and at-risk youth and supporting them in terms of making good, positive, pro-social, and healthy behavior and choices. Our student government is starting School Spirit Fridays. We just started this past week. Our first Friday was Flannel Friday, where we're demonstrating school spirit. This tomorrow will be our Superhero Friday. It's middle school, it's fun, and lots of people participate, not just students, but faculty and staff as well. We did our donation to the Hyde Park Food Pantry. Our student government does that every year. We donated just about 600 pounds of food. We're pretty excited about that. And we literally stuff a bus, we drive it over, and our kids actually participate in the delivery of that. So, and we will be doing our Valentines for Troops. Regina Hernandez with the Cape Council also just did a supply collection for Grace Smith House, and they did care packages of all the things and personal items somebody might need at the Grace Smith House. That's a pretty exciting project as well. They've got 14 packages of items, very full, coming over there. We have the middle schools, we adopted families this year. That's more about the faculty, the staff, and less about the students, but it does actually support students in our building. So we just picked up our 5th family this year for adoption for the holidays. And I think I've talked about that, except for our Native American author, Joseph Bursack, came in. That was something I worked with Sarah Feldman, our librarian from last year, and Jen Kreiser Amy, and the Mid-Hudson Library System with the Big Read and the Little Read. The district, with Ms. Kreiser Amy's support, purchased all 5th graders a book by Joseph Bursack, Warriors, that they read over the summer. And then it was part of some of the instruction that happened in the classrooms this past fall. And Joseph Bursack came in. He's a Native American storyteller, and he gave some of those classic stories and life lessons, but from a Native American perspective. And it was pretty exciting. All 6th graders were fully engaged in it. So that's our character education that is occurring on this slide. And parent and community involvement, I can't say enough about our Haviland Middle School PTA. They are the heartbeat of activities for students here in the building. I won't have any shame in asking, if you're not a member of the PTA, to please join, because we are essential partners. They sponsor all the activities, a lot of the activities that happen for kids, whether it be our book drives, our honor roll breakfasts, which we just had our first round of for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade last week, our dances, our picnics, our fall festivals, our moving up day ceremonies and refreshments afterwards. These are all done parent-driven PTA events, and I just can't suggest it more. Even our dances are activities for our students. I mean, it's a mere $2 ticket to come in, and you get participation and access to everything there. Again, partnerships with our SRO program, the Hyde Park Police. It's an invaluable resource, having Officer Mirabella here in our school and getting to know students and being a support for our school community. Again, Dutchess County Cape, our partnership with Marist College, with our after-school tutoring, and then also working with the town of Hyde Park to redesign Teen Center for a 21st century tween or teen. It's an endeavor that we're working on for the last 2 months, and they're looking to actually unroll in January, a possible reopening of Teen Center. So we're excited about that, because it is and can be really good Friday night fun in the town of Hyde Park for our middle schoolers. And of course, our Haviland Community Room, I always want to encourage available for our HMS families to use throughout the day if needed, using school resources that are there. And before I close, I just want to say thank you to whomever it was that dropped off the 2 pictures this past weekend onto our front steps. One was one of the classic sketch drawings that we know Al Massa has done for Haviland Middle School, but the other one, which I would consider a historic picture, is an aerial view of Haviland Middle School from circa 1960. So it was pretty exciting to see. I came in on Monday morning, there they were just sort of leaned up against the building. So I just want to say thank you. It's something that we will look to have cleaned and then maybe put up in our main lobby, because it is a piece of our history. So
Wow.
Very cool.
now offer to the board if there are any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Eric?
Yeah, I do.
One of our goals is to increase graduation rates, and we hear from in the high school what they're doing. How are you identifying students that are failing or falling behind, and how do you work that relationship with the high school as they transfer?
Okay, that's a great question. So identifying students who are failing or falling behind, we're going to need to close gaps. We start with our universal screener, a MAPS assessment. It's a valuable tool that we use here at the middle level, and that in a fairly robust AIS program that we begin the year with students in. We use data from previous year or coming up from the elementary school. We also take that and we review it mid-year as well, and we look to see how instruction is impacting learning and how it's impacting skill development to see if there's any adjustment that has to happen. And then we start there. The other thing about the next piece of it, how do we get that to the high school? One of the things, and through Aviva's leadership, and actually some new and different and fresh ideas from Camila Doma, our new assistant principal, we're working with the FDR guidance team and the Haviland guidance team to really redesign how we do transition to the high school, how we do scheduling, how we assist students in making really positive choices in a way that should be more efficient and a little bit deeper of understanding for students. We're adding a visit to the high school, which is include a tour of the building, which is probably something that happened 20 years ago, but somewhere in the last 10 it stopped. And we're also going to be bringing the high school counselors here for a portion of a modified morning to work with 8th graders as they would have them going up. So the first time you're not going to meet your high school counselors are going to be in spring at the end of 9th grade, as you might remember how that goes because then you're scheduled for 10th, as I'm looking at Leah. You'll have an opportunity to meet them here in 8th grade and start building that relationship. So I think they're key contributors and key partners in student success in the guidance department, and that's where we're beginning that work, because you guys sort of asked me a little bit about that this past fall when I was at a board meeting, and so that's where we sort of took and ran with so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would add that both the AVID and the grant that we have for the after-school programs work very closely with at-risk students. And it was
Yeah.
alluded to before, but one of the best things you can do is get a kid engaged in school through co-curricular activities. And that list of co-curricular activities, because of the board's support, has doubled.
Yeah.
And so having students find, especially middle school students, find a positive connection that is maybe academic but maybe not, makes the difference between a student beginning thinking about dropping out versus I'm staying in school, I'm staying engaged with my peers. So those are just a few of the other connections, especially at the middle school level, is to keep them engaged academically and socially.
Hey, thank you for that. And as I hear that, it reminds me of some of the really things that we start to take for granted, but are really part of, we talk about culture, what we do. Even the teaming concept here at Haviland Middle School, where we have a large 7th or 8th or 6th grade, but we have a small group of teachers that really gets to know kids well and really works together collaboratively daily to make good decisions academically for those students and really monitor and look at progress and assess data and make adjustments where needed. So I think about that too, because when we talk about culture and what we do, that's part of Haviland Middle School, but it is really a big part of keeping students connected to school. And, as what I heard somebody say once, and I completely agree with it, as they come to us in 6th grade, we have them all. And I tasked our staff and our teachers with how many are still with us in 8th grade. When they go up to high school, how many are still with us? And I think our goal is to still have them all.
Okay.
I just have a quick thing to interject. A few years ago, my fellow executive council members and I started something called the Positive Partners Program, which is essentially a mentoring program where we have juniors who are going to become seniors the following year sign up and fill out a questionnaire. And we have the Haviland guidance counselors identify at-risk students, and we pair up the to-be seniors with students. And my sophomore year of high school, we had a great success with that program, and we had so many seniors who actually became good friends with these freshmen, and they were doing things outside of school with them, and it had a really positive impact. And unfortunately last year we didn't have enough incoming freshmen to run the program, but my assumption is that when I pick things back up in the spring, we'll have another plethora of juniors.
that would-
So I'd love to have more
That would be pretty
incoming freshmen this
That would
year.
be pretty exciting. It did recommend 45 students from our guidance office, but I'm not sure exactly what the threshold is. But we'll work with Mr. Party to figure that out, because from what I've heard, although it's an FDR program, I guess it does start here. I heard a lot of positive feedback about that. Thank you, Leo.
Right, I'd work with Lee on that.
Absolutely.
Go right to the top, a board member.
Any other questions? Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
At this time, may I have a motion to enter public participation, please?
So moved. Second.
You got that? Perry and Jeff? Perry and Jeff. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. If anybody would like to address the board, please step up to the mic, state your name, and we'd be happy to hear from you. No takers? May I have a motion to
So moved.
close public participation?
Second.
Perry, Steve.
We got Perry in, all right? Yeah. We're going slower because in the past I've gone too quickly and we missed who did the second, so. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
So now it's our goal to make things go too fast.
Well, that brings us to board subcommittee reports. Do we have any? The policy committee did meet and discuss a number of policies that there was some technology. What were the other ones?
It was all technology.
All technology?
It was all
I
technology.
thought there was some other ones.
And we're
that
still
were there.
working on them. We're still.
Right.
Still working on them.
As you might
Good luck with that.
imagine, technology changes so fast. The policies have to change along with them. We're still working on those, but it was one of our goals last year was to make sure that all the tech policies were up to date. We didn't quite get there, but we're going to get it this year. Any other?
Yeah, I can report, actually last Thursday night was a Dutchess County School Board Association meeting, which I didn't make, but I would just remind everybody that on January 20th, it's a Saturday morning, we're going to be doing a legislative breakfast
Oh, right.
in which our local politicians will be meeting with the Dutchess County School Board Association. All board members are welcome to be there. And the intent is to enlighten them on issues that are important to the 13 school districts in the county. So that's
Yeah.
one. And
Got a couple, yeah.
the second one is we had a DLT meeting. When was it?
Yesterday?
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
It's been a long week.
Yes.
Two.
Um,
We had two, right?
Yeah, we did have two since the last board meeting.
Yeah. Okay. But at the meeting yesterday, I would say we had an excellent presentation by representatives from CS Arch. And I would say for myself, I feel much better that they are on track. They've given us, they're working on a multitude of options. And I think the next time they come to the board, we'll have many more opportunities or much more to consider for the sake of meeting our priorities for capital projects. I think the intent is we're going to have another DLT meeting early January.
8th, yeah.
Before
13th.
a presentation is made at the board meeting.
Okay. Yeah, that meeting's the 13th,
The
January 13th, the next DLT,
Next.
right?
No, the
Next.
DLT?
DLT is January 8th, the
8th.
special one at
8th,
6
oh, okay.
o'clock, yeah.
All right.
And Perry, I believe you were on one more board subcommittee, the Energy?
Oh, yes.
Really has been a
Help
long.
Want
me
me
out
to-
there. You were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I
You
was
were
there, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna let you carry the burden here.
Okay, so that meeting, the primary topic that we discussed was alternate fuel buses. And George Treadwell was there, shared some information. I have to admit, I think there were some action items, and I'm not sure how well they're happening, but the intent was to gather some information in consideration of propane-powered buses, as well as there's a movement toward gasoline-powered buses, really both moving further away from diesel power. So I think it was a good conversation. I think there's a lot of information to gather, looking at getting some information, benchmarking from other districts as to what they're using, also talking to manufacturers and see what information that they can offer. So I would say more to come.
Jeff?
And the special ed committee met, and just to let you, give you guys a heads up, part of the children's home that was in Highland has moved back into our district. They're still assessing what that will mean to the district. And we don't think it's going to be that much, but we'll expect some kind of feedback from that. The SAVE committee met. Just to give you guys a heads up, the Ralph R. Smith has started the backpack program this year, which is they're sending home food for the weekend for those kids that are in a food crisis need. That's coming from the Hudson Valley Food Bank. And also Violet Avenue has their own program, which is actually outside funded. And
Right.
and they're also doing that. So there's other schools that are now taking a look and see what can we do to take care of our own students. And there was another issue in the SAVE committee that I'll be sending a note, but it's not something I can say in the public, but I think we have to do some research on.
Okay, thank you. That takes care of all the subcommittees. Okay, we have on the agenda a board retreat discussion. We had originally, for the board goals, said that we would have a board retreat, and since that time we've talked about a retreat specifying financial planning, 5-year plan, that kind of thing. So I think what we need to do is nail that down as we're going to do it and then pick a day. We need to get a date so that we can get the proper people in lined up. So, is that a good thing for financial planning? Does it sound? I think that's.
Yeah.
I think we all agreed on that. I don't know if you're all prepared to come up with a date right now, but could we have within the next?
I think Linda has something to say, and Jay can also coordinate that
okay.
via email.
So I did talk to Jason from BPD.
Okay.
And he did ask that we provide him with a few dates, just to make sure that we can find something that meets,
Okay.
works with his schedule too.
Didn't we make him come in the snow last time?
Right.
Are we hoping
looking
for
at January?
February?
I would think January would be. Work up that Christmas food and drink and all that stuff. So, how about if we all?
I know that
Does it
there-
matter what
I'm-
day? Or do we have a problem with anybody who is working? Since I'm not working, I can come anytime I want. About times, during the.
I was just going to say, I know that there's technology out there that, and I believe belong to a couple of other organizations that use, I get these emails that say, okay, we've got to arrange a meeting. Here's a bunch of dates and times. Can, fill in what you're available.
And doodle poll is one.
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
can laugh at,
it's
yeah.
out there. It's,
Yeah.
it's beyond me, but I know how to fill it out when it comes to
Yeah,
me.
I
So
guess.
is there anybody who's capable of doing that? Because, we could sit down with,
Figure it out.
yeah, just,
All right.
why don't we send it out that way? And then if we all fill it out, then
Okay.
it becomes obvious what times are available, and you can feel, then give that to
Can we
Connigan's.
narrow down a target date range at least here? Like
January?
Just the month of January?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking that.
That's fine.
I think
But I
so.
would
What
like to know, does anybody have any time restraints, like I can't get to this thing until 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock even? Just so,
Depends on the
Jay.
date you pick.
fit into the day
Yeah.
you pick. Okay, because I know there are people that are
I
time
work till 7,
constrained.
so yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I also know that sometimes in the past, you have selected a Thursday that's not a board meeting night, because that's generally Thursdays, if we come to board meetings twice a month, it's not something that you have ongoing.
Jeff has problems.
Oh,
I'll be working every Thursday night.
Yeah.
That's not a board meeting in January.
As it is, he's taking vacation to be here.
oh, is there a night that,
It rotates. I have a
Oh.
2-week schedule that rotates, so.
oh,
All right, so we'll wait for your dates. Yeah, sounds good.
So 9 o'clock in the morning would be good?
If it's my day off, yes.
Okay. All right. So Jay, if you could engineer that, that's great. All right. Moving on then. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Second.
You got that? Mike and Dan?
Mike and Dan, thank you.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Let me just move down here. May I have a motion for special education placements, please?
So moved.
Second.
Dan and Jeff? Any discussion? Dan?
I've reviewed the packet and recommend its adoption as presented.
All right.
With one question, Viva, the first packet I've got for that date, all indicate, I think, that they were something about a November 30th Board of Education meeting. I'm trying to remember if we shifted a packet around or what.
yeah, we didn't have the November
No,
30th
30th
meeting.
was a,
Which left it hanging.
Yes.
I don't know if that needs to be updated to the date.
We can
had a board
amend
meeting.
those to have either this one or the next board meeting. I think at the time when the meeting happens, they're projecting when they think the next board meeting will be. So I'll
So
just,
since we're voting on both packets, I would suggest we want to put
we
the
can just
board date
amend
as
those.
today, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that as today. Thank you for the catch.
okay. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. May I have a motion for the agreement for the tutoring for Signet Education, please?
Motion.
Second.
Denise and Steve?
Are you speaking up?
Any discussion on that one?
Oh, somebody enlighten me on what
Yeah, I
exactly this
can.
is?
We have inpatient tutoring for children who might be in a psychiatric hospital, and this is the first time we have a student at Mass General Hospital, so we needed to enter into a tutoring agreement. So it's something that's required. It's just very unusual for it to be a hospital so far away, and it's not something the district decides. You know, parents will admit their child into a hospital, and then they need to have tutoring. So when it's not within our district, the tutors are engaged through the hospital, and we pay for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One thing, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm a stickler on seeing values in contracts. And this particular one doesn't have any, it's very open-ended. It's not per hour.
Well, what we agreed is that what the minimum in New York, because they're in Massachusetts, so we had to have a conversation about grades 7 through 12 is a minimum of 2 hours a day. So they're going to do that, whereas it could be more.
Okay.
So they're going to keep to our limit. But this was a case where they have their contract. It wasn't one that we're developing. So it's 2 hours a school day until the child's released.
Okay.
So it's not something where there's a degree of choice.
Okay.
And the hourly rate is also already set. And it's not like we get to do an RFP for other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. That brings us back to the second public participation. May I have a motion to enter public participation, please?
So moved. Second.
Yep. Any discussion on that one? All in favor? Opposed? Once again, if anybody would like to address the board, please step up to the mic. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. Okay. I have a motion to close public participation.
So moved.
Second.
Perry and Dan. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. There are no other matters that I know of that
Doug,
are necessary unless,
I wanted to have a quick conversation about the possibility of a working session.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the,
Yeah, I wanted to have a short discussion about the possibility of a working session to look over the plans for the upcoming capital project. Thank you. So what I'm suggesting is that we try to set aside a date where we sit down with the developers, the administrators, and really look at the plans, ask questions, instead of doing it in a public meeting forum.
So a special board meeting.
I suppose that's what it would look like to the public, although it wouldn't be this format. It would be a work table, it would be plans, it would be...
Right.
Yeah, as long as you do it
The
in-
public would still be...
Public can
Yes.
still attend.
Sure,
He knows that,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah,
But a more informal
They just watch us
conversation
work.
rather than
okay.
Robert's rules and so forth.
There just wouldn't be any decisions being made, right? We wouldn't have any votes or anything like that.
That's right. It would be,
Just-
our opportunity to really understand the decisions that are behind what we see.
Right.
Okay,
You
would
don't
there
have
be...
public participation.
Would there be an opportunity for the public to comment on it? I just want to know what the ground rules are here.
When I have seen this done, there is no public participation.
Okay,
It's really a working session for the board to,
Fine.
understand.
I just wanted to
the
make
issue
that
at
clear
hand.
ahead of,
Yeah.
up front. So, once again, it's the day of when we do that, and Jay, you want to send out another in addition to the,
I'll see what I can-
and what, targeting
Prior to
next
when?
month, February? Is there a time that,
Well, January's shaping up to be pretty busy.
right?
Is February too late to really get our arms around the capital project?
For the sake of the project schedule, probably.
I would rather move the board retreat to February if we wanted to open up time to have something like this in January.
Well, so first, let's make sure that everybody thinks that this would be worth doing. I know that when we first saw the plans a couple weeks ago at Violet Avenue, I couldn't really understand. I hadn't really caught up with it. Now that I've been at a DLT where options were presented, I'm more comfortable, but I'm on the DLT. Not everybody is. So I would think that there would be some desire for this, but I don't want to speak for anybody else.
I'm kind of torn now that you mentioned the DLT, because that's the
That's what
purpose of the DLT.
Yeah, I think there's a
to
difference on the
present
working
to a-
session where we could, four of the board members do not get to the opportunity to go to the DLT. The decisions are being made there. But at a board meeting, we get very little time to explore all of the ramifications of the various proposals that we're going to see. I think this is a great way of getting that information and not violating the open meeting laws and all the other things. Because I had no idea. I'd heard the comments about the ripping up the pod the first time round, but I had no idea that what they were talking about was adding a building on the outside of it and moving the main structural columns of the pod that they were affecting. The significant
No, well,
change.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you, but that was presented at a board meeting, but I...
Not to that.
Yes, it was.
I'm sorry.
It
It was.
actually was, but I guess what I'm not opposed to this, but I am leery of the interaction between the board and the DLT at some... I don't want the DLT to be going in one direction and then us going in our discussion in a different direction. That's the only thing I want to be careful of.
Yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily what we're looking at. I think
Okay.
that, to me, the idea, and I guess maybe I have a little bit of an advantage. I mean, this is my world, but that I think it's important for the board members to feel comfortable with what the architects are doing based on the DLT's input. So I'm not sure that it's so much that there's going to be a lot of that there's a whole bunch of feedback, or that through that board discussion that there's going to be significant changes or any changes. I think it's a matter of just really understanding what it is that's being proposed and what we're being asked to approve.
Okay,
and
under those
endorse.
conditions, yeah. then it's
So,
fine.
and I would wonder, for the matter of convenience and just one concept is, would we consider just doing an earlier start on our January meeting?
That
Yeah.
is one way other districts do it. is
Just
have
do
a-
like a 5 a.m., or whatever, or 5 p.m.
That's
Time of the day.
That's early. That's
It's
a
a-
much earlier start than I'm willing to take on.
I'll make coffee.
You enjoy alone time that time of day, do you?
I only drink decaf, so it won't help.
All right, that sounds like a reasonable thing.
I mean,
I just didn't want to be stepping on toes or have the DLT feel that, we're having this discussion, then we're going to tell them what we want. And
No, I'm
go
not
change.
interested in stepping on the DLT's toes, but I would welcome the opportunity to have a better look at it and a better understanding of what's
And I have no
going on.
problem with it. I just want to make sure we have some ground rules. That's all.
And don't take this the wrong way, but not for nothing, we do approve
Yeah.
what it is
Yeah.
that we're doing. I mean, I appreciate everything the DLT is doing, but
They're not
they
the
are not,
decision-making
they're not the
body.
decision makers on
Well, we
this.
approve everything that the superintendent brings also, but I don't want to get into an argument, but,
Not without critique.
That's
yeah, okay. Okay, so that's settled. So we can do it before, everybody's okay with that? Jeff, you're okay with before the next board meeting and the January board
He's
meeting?
going to be out of vacation, but.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I won't. I'll get my days off.
Oh, that's your day off. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so that's the next one, January 10th.
But it have to be shoehorned in after the
Well, then it's
DLT comes to the final recommendations, but before we vote, right?
Well, if they're meeting the 8th and we meet after that, then the discussion should.
Occur at the 5
Occur.
o'clock on that meeting, yeah.
Yeah, that should be fine.
January 11th.
Which gives us
Yeah.
a short window to, that's the only concern I'd have. If any topic came up of concern, we couldn't go into it very deeply if we only had an hour.
We have 3 board members on the DLT. We'll know.
You'll have
Internet
2
is-
opportunities.
Yeah, but
Well,
only you 3 vote. There's 4 more votes that are going to be
No,
cast.
I'm no longer.
I know. I'm
going.
saying, there's 4 other votes to be cast, and this is a significant vote because of what's going on, that I would like to be as fully aware of what's going on as I can.
Yeah, a couple of things that might help. Just to clarify, and I know you know this, but the DLT doesn't vote.
Understand.
Yeah. So that evening, you would have 2 opportunities, because we would do the work session at 5 o'clock, but we wouldn't take them off the regular agenda. So you'll have a work session, and then they'll still be on the agenda to present at our public meeting. One of the things that's a given is that when you're doing a capital project, you may have to have an extra board meeting where that's the only agenda item, because it's not unusual for a Board of Education to spend 2 hours at a board meeting with the architects. So, and sometimes that's necessary. So this is not unusual that you want to have extended time, and it can be done with a work session, followed up that evening with a presentation. But I would really encourage, if we ever get to the point, and just so that to remind people of the timeline, the backwards timeline, somewhere around mid-March is when we just kind of have to stick our stake in the ground and say we're going to go with this concept. But it is not unusual for a district to have a couple of special board meetings with the architects, and so don't hesitate to ask for the time. You only get one shot at it, and you want to be as knowledgeable as possible. So I think it's a great first start to do a workshop session at 5 o'clock. Keep it on the board agenda so that they present to the public, and we'll take it from there. And if I know we're talking about adding meetings because of the long-range financial planning, but I would say that the capital project timeline and your comfort level is critical.
Well, you need an exec session.
What's that?
An exec session.
Yeah, what
right?
time will we
gonna
meet
ask
for
that
exec?
question.
Yeah. If we meet at 5, are we having an
4
exec
a.m.
session at 3:30?
Or you could have it after the
We
meeting.
can do it after the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, just wanted to
yeah.
put that out there.
Yeah, I don't I'm so pleased that this district does it before, because in districts that do it afterwards, people are tired, and it usually doesn't go well. But for having been at several board
Also
meetings
on
till
the
1 o'clock in the
fetus.
morning in other districts, because executive session has no end time when you do it after the meeting. But having one executive session after the meeting is not a problem.
I'll point out that meeting on January
Can I say David
11th
Burton?
is at Ralph R. Smith. So I don't know if that creates any special logistics. Ralph R. Smith is the location, so we just want to make sure we've got facility appropriate for laying out a set of drawings or two and getting people around comfortably.
It's how you feel. If we can postpone the Ralph R. Smith, that's easy enough to do, and meet in the boardroom if you're more comfortable there than that big cafeteria.
Well, I think, I guess my thought would be perhaps we have that work session in the cafeteria where there is, we can, even a couple folding tables to get the drawings out.
I just
Where-
wrote down big table.
Yeah, where we normally meet in the library, we have our executive session in the library, and I don't know if there's enough room there to make it work or not.
No, I don't think so.
So,
So we could just set up a couple of big tables in the middle and have
Yep.
our work session, and then go into
And then-
public.
move right into public. Mhm.
And again, the public can watch us work, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna stay at Ralph Smith. We're gonna have some
Sounds like
real
progresses.
tables.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And you may
And-
have to
and
eat
chairs.
while you have your work
Yeah, I
session,
think
too.
that's easy
fine.
enough. We can,
You
yeah,
All right.
Just have,
refreshments
Yeah.
while we're, sure.
Yeah.
Like the results will spill the dinner on the currents.
I was gonna say.
And just as a point, I think that the last,
right, yeah. they have
at the
to.
DLT, it was discussed that the architects are going to be coming back with some options
Right.
and with some budget numbers assigned to those options that the DLT will be discussing and throwing around. But I would think that's pretty much the same information that we're going to be receiving only a few days later. So
Yeah.
I think it's very timely. It's a good point for us to start to look at the variety of options along with the matrix of budget numbers that we'll be struggling with.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's settled then, right?
Okay.
Right.
I'll
All right.
contact the architects and make sure they can get here by 5.
Okay. And thanks, Steve, for bringing that up.
Yes, good job.
There's no need for another executive session. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Good job, Denise.
Yeah.
That one I'm getting
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Yes,
Opposed? We're now
ready.
closed. Adjourn.